Sprout fans. I'm here today to show you an example of how to set up an effective calendar time for your students. This calendar setup could work for preschool, kindergarten, or first grade. It's a great body of skills that are good to be reviewed every single day. So when we start calendar, we start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Then we go into the actual calendar part. We talk about what month of the year it is, and we would sing a month of the year song and then raise our hands when we get to September. We would come over to our chart and make sure we have the right month marked. And then we would talk about what season does this month fall under. So we would move it when the seasons change. After the months, then we would count the date. Now, usually I wouldn't have this in there. I would be counting the numbers with the kids. And when we got to 15, I would ask, what number comes next? Have them tell me, and have someone come in here and put the number 16 in as today's date. After that, we find our day of the week. I like to do this by going to the number and then going up and saying, what day of the week is that? Wednesday. And then we would sing a day of the week song and again, raise our hands when we get to Wednesday. So that takes care of our calendar part. Then we're going to go to our weather. So I would have one student tell me what the weather was like outside. In this envelope, we have all sorts of options: rainy, windy, snowy. They pick out the weather, and then that same kid or another kid could come over and graph the weather for us. This teaches them some basic graphing skills. And then at the end of the month, you're able to discuss what type of weather did we have the most of? What type of weather did we have the least of? And it's always fun to see those weather changes as the seasons change. Then there's numbers. Now you can do this a couple of ways. You can keep track of how many days you've been in school, and then the number would go up for each day of school, or you could just choose a number of the day. For this example, I chose the number 7. So I would show them the number 7. We might write number 7 in the air with our fingers to practice it. We would count to 7 by counting on this chart and having someone point as we count. Then we would add 7 straws to our pocket. Now this is fun because when you have little kids, you can keep it in the smaller numbers, but when you have big kids, you can teach them about the tens and the hundredth place and show them how to bundle straws and move them as the numbers get bigger. Then we come over here and we show that number represented in coins. If you want to, you could do this all with 7 pennies and talk about how pennies are worth 1 cent. For this one, I used a nickel and 2 pennies. So we would talk about how a nickel is worth 5 cents, and we would sing our little nickel song. We would talk about how a penny is worth 1 cent. We'd sing our penny song, and then I would show them how we add them together by saying, hold your 5 on your hand. Now let's count up from that. 6, 7. That's the number of the day. Other things are your shape of the day. Choose a shape to focus on. Talk about the shape. How many sides does it have? Do you see any of these shapes around the room? Do you know anything that comes in that shape? That kind of thing. Also do a letter of the day. This might be a letter of the week or month, however your school works. But we would introduce it. I would show them the capital and the lowercase version. Again, we'd probably write those in the air with our fingers. And then we'd sing our song that says the sound of letter A. And maybe I would have kids go find A around the room. Then we would come to our pattern of the day. This is where a pattern has been started, and we talk about what's been started. We talk about what kind of pattern it is, like this is an A-B pattern. And then I would call somebody to tell me how to complete that pattern. After we've gone through all of these skills, then I would move over here to the alphabet, and I would go through all of these letters each day with the kids by saying the letter name and sound like this, A, and having them echo after me. Now, as your school year continues, you can build from these skills, make them harder, challenge your kids, but it's a great thing to do every day with your class.